Battlefield 6 just got a new update, Update 1.1.1.5, that changed a few core components of the game and tackled some longer standing issues. Today we're going to be going over what changed, what you need to know, how it affects your game, and everything in between. So drop your thoughts as we go along, drop a like if you enjoyed the video, and make sure to subscribe to stay video with all things FPS content, including more Battlefield 6, Redsec, Arc Raiders, and even more as we chase down 700,000 subscribers together. I'd love to have you in the community. And finally, check out my friends over at Advanced GG to fuel up for your gaming sessions of the holidays here, where Code Espresso can get you 10% off your entire order. But for now, let's get into it. So the big picture items here listed right up front in the patch notes for Battlefield 6 include a few things. We'll dive deeper into these as they go along, but as sort of what to expect type of thing at the top level, they said they fixed the exploits with a Recon drone where elevating players while hitting it with a sledgehammer has been fixed. The lock-guided missiles not working and having those countermeasures combating those missiles have been fixed. They said they fixed an issue where vehicles did not spawn correctly in Breakthrough and Conquest. Battle Royale issues including match flow, squad revives, and end-of-round issues have been ironed out. And lastly, they detailed a bit about progression, audio, UI, and other elements that have been adjusted that, frankly, they weren't the biggest things that whenever you see those types of stuff, you're like, oh, maybe that has some like larger underlying implications. Those ones are kind of minor compared to everything else. But personally, the thing that I was kind of surprised that while they detailed all of these at a top level, it was interesting to me that the first thing they mentioned in regards to the player category for gameplay changes, they said for the player, they fixed an issue where dispersion would be higher than intended when going from sprint to firing in ADS. They fixed an issue where the dispersion would incorrectly scale with movement speed and always assume the player is moving at maximum movement speed for the stance, and that they tuned landing animations to reduce excessive camera and weapon movement when aiming down sights, improving visual stability during and after landing. This update also resolves instances where the ADS aim could be displaced when sliding. So while with the Season 1 update, they had mentioned that bloom and the shot dispersion bugs, that those would be fixed and updated, they weren't actually. For whatever reason, it may have been like a weird lost in translation thing or a situation of patch notes being written a bit too quickly for the actual change itself, but now we should see those changes enacted. Full transparency, this is being recorded yesterday, as of the notes and when those were first published, but published here on YouTube in conjunction with the launch of the patch just a few hours ago. So while it should, in theory, be fixed entirely as mentioned, in practicality, I still don't have enough matches since the update went live and as of updating this recording to definitively say it's better or worse, but from preliminary testing in the firing range, it would appear that the dispersion is not only tighter, but it also takes longer to ramp up to being that widest cone possible, thus seeming to make your shots feel a bit tighter all around. You'll absolutely still notice it at a distance or while holding down that trigger as intended for the game, but it should feel tighter in those instances that otherwise it was bugged, which I'm all for. Still burst and tap fire when possible because that's the most accurate way to be when firing, especially over those distances, but if it's not possible, you should still be in better hands now. The vehicle adjustments, again, they said they fixed an issue where lock-guided missiles did not get countered as expected when met with enemy countermeasures such as flares. Now this issue is nice to see resolved. It's kind of a bit surprising that it took this long to address it and then, as of only recently, temporarily remove the item in question in the last few days, but happy to see that it'll be something that's now working as intended, I guess, at this point here, and should make aerial combat something that is actually viable once again. I have seen so many clips of so many pilot-first players within Battlefield 6 just getting absolutely decimated like the moment they jump in a vehicle because of this issue with those lock-guided missiles. So hopefully you shouldn't just see now tanks sitting in the back of their spawn, taking out everything the moment it gets in the air. Gadgets, again, they fixed that exploit allowing players to ascend and access unintended areas when standing on the Recon drone by hitting it with a sledgehammer. That was something that I just found odd that they seemed to address that earlier, but then it didn't fix it. Now, hopefully, again, it is fixed by this point. The vehicle spawns not coming in correctly on Breakthrough and Conquest for various maps and modes. Definitely nice to see that fixed out. One of the things that I was mentioning that was kind of odd where like they mentioned it and you think that it might have been a bigger deal was the progression. At first glance, like progression, oh, they're maybe fixing XP rates. They're maybe adjusting level unlocks of some kind. But instead, this just fixed an issue where the shotgun weapon challenge for kill 5 enemies with a shotgun without reloading didn't properly complete, and they fixed an issue where the progress for the Engineer Specialist 3 assignment didn't actually save properly. So that kind of stuff, more minor. Same with, honestly, the rest of the Battlefield 6 patch notes here with this, where they fixed an issue with vehicle customization, locking anti-air vehicle presets. Portal ended up having an issue where spawn loot not spawning ammo and armor was fixed, where they fixed an issue with community experiences being blocked. And strangely, when it came to audio, there's a couple of things you could definitely critique about the audio within Battlefield 6, but what was fixed out of this update was simply an issue of activating the BF Pro radio channel. So that didn't play any sound beforehand. Now it should be fixed. But the other stuff you might be thinking of that could have used some adjustments haven't been adjusted at the moment. Now, as for Redsec, there was a smaller amount of things here fixed with this, but they stated they fixed an issue where Battle Royale quads matches did not end after the last team was eliminated. This is one of those things that I'm wondering if it was the sort of root cause for some of the clips that I ended up seeing, where a lot of people were likening it to what seemed to be the stim glitch from Warzone back in the day, or popping up a couple of times back in the day, where they thought players were maybe just somehow surviving off in the fire, whereas that closed on them, they'd end up dying and then lose because the game didn't recognize that they were the last team up. That's kind of what I'm thinking would be the case here with this, but not 100% sure, but that issue was fixed, whatever it may be. And they also fixed an issue where being killed immediately after a mobile respawn was completed would then result in your entire team being wiped, and those players that should have been coming back would not have actually gotten that chance to fight to get their squad back in, and then everybody regained and taken another stab at the match overall. The other two issues they fixed in Redsec in regards to that, fixed an issue where players would be stuck in a top-down view of the map after redeploying, and they fixed an issue where the second chance would sometimes be retained after redeploying, which obviously became problematic. Additionally, they also fixed an issue where all squad members display the same highlighted stat on the squad placement screen, and they fixed an issue with the Battle Royale Master Challenge 4 not tracking properly. Now, that said, that's what we have at the moment. However, what's it looking like for future updates? We have to remember that Season 1 Phase 2 is actually right around the corner, just a week from today on the 18th. So at that point, we'll be getting new content, and with that, additional updates to bring that content into the game that, while it is, of course, going to be centered around that content, it's very possible we end up seeing that download also including additional changes, accompanying that sometime next week. Right now, obviously, we don't know too much of what that may entail. It's still a bit too early to tell, and there's not really been much said just yet from the perspective of developers to clue us in on any sort of changes that could be coming. We, of course, are still waiting for some of those aim assist adjustments reverting back to the beta and things that have been mentioned in the past that have still yet to be enacted, but at the moment, beyond a handful of things, we don't quite know what all that could include. But that said, with an update being something that's a sort of like off-week update or off-content update type of update, it's nice to see these things changed, but also could mean that we have more right around the corner. But for now, I just wanted to fill you guys in on the updates here that came along with today's update that you had to download for Battlefield 6. So let me know your thoughts down below. Is there anything in particular you guys liked to see out of this? Anything you were hoping to see included with this that may not have been in the update? Let me know. But if you guys enjoyed the video, you found it at all insightful, do me a favor, drop a like on it. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure you subscribe so don't miss a single thing running all things Battlefield 6, Redsec, Arc Raiders. We do have some more Black Ops 7 content coming up later this week with a launch, but a lot of FPS content here that I'd love to have in the community for. But for now, thanks so much for watching. Minus an espresso. I'll see you later. Take care and peace.